Hey everybody, Nathan Richard back again. We're going to have another conversation about some important topics, topics that we believe are important for business owners.
Yes.
And of course,
Hopefully important.
Yes, hopefully important. And of course, obviously, as you people are watching this, you are business owners yourselves, specifically in the music industry. We think these are really important. So, but jumping into that, it's tax time.
Yes.
So it is tax season. It's an important time of the year. It drives a lot of business, drives a lot of excitement. It's the end of first quarter. First quarter is a big time of year. So tell me, I don't know, let's talk a little bit about why tax time is important and even possibly give an idea or two of what some people should be doing.
What I've seen from taxes, probably the one segment of our business that we deal with, of course we deal with music stores, online customers, and we also list our upper end pawn shops. The segment that probably does the best job overall with taxes by far is the pawn shops.
Okay.
It's amazing the phone calls that we get saying it's almost tax time, I've got to stock my store, I need inventory, I need price points. Everything that they say is very much pointed towards the sale. So it's price points, it's quantity, and their purpose is to capture those dollars that walk in, because they have a season. It's almost like Christmas. They have a particular time of the year where they count on that money coming through the door, and it's very important that they get those guitars in. So they start very, very early, and again, it's like Christmas time.
Yeah.
They expect that to go on. But the pawn shops, by far the best in the business.
Yeah, Christmas time, fourth quarter is a big time of year, but I've noticed a lot with my clients. Man, this time of year, first quarter is big and can be bigger. Specifically, the month of March,
yes,
can be a big time of year. So, what are some things, as you've talked with the pawn industry and some owners, what are some things that they do to try to drive in that traffic and take advantage of those tax dollars?
I think a big part of it is they concentrate on it. It's a focus. They're intentional with it. So again, they're hitting price points. So they're looking at guitars that they could sell for $99 or $150 or on up. It's also a great time of the year to sell higher end guitars. A lot of times we're looking at the cheap end because of tax, and we're going at, but it's also a good time where people walk in and they want to spend $1,000 or whatever. So the key with all of this is to stock your store, have lots of inventory, and prepare and do this on purpose, because it's an additional profit center that we don't count on. We go, hey, we had our fourth quarter, we had Christmas, we restocked our store a little bit just because it was empty.
Yeah.
But we completely miss out in the music industry as a whole on tax season. We get some people walking in, we sell some guitars, but it's not a focus. It's not something that we concentrate. And I want to encourage dealers to concentrate on it, to focus it, and to be purposeful with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the chunk of change that a lot of people get back. I mean, they get $1,200 in their pocket.
Yes.
They've got their eye on an $800 guitar. All of a sudden, they go, hey, I need to check this out. So as our stores become more and more visible to them, those opportunities are there. It's
a great time of the year where we can, and this is a bad habit, that we can quit assuming how much money somebody has.
Sure.
And that's we do this all the time. I used to do it and I had to break it because it was a bad habit, but quit assuming how much people have in their pockets. Again, tax people get good money back a lot of times. They can walk in and you may look at them and think, oh, they just want a $200 guitar, but they may want $1,000 or a $1,500 or a $2,000 guitar. So it's a time of year where we have to quit doing that and just focus on the customer, find out what they're wanting, and fill that need.
Yeah, there's actually, I was thinking of, I've had some feedback from some of our clients that, you know, it's also time, and I guess maybe you'd want to do it any time of the year, you know, but specifically this time of year, you know, like somebody walks in and they're like, hey, I want to look at a certain guitar, it's $300–400, that kind of sweet spot. man, it's a great opportunity to go, well, hey, I've got that, but man, check out this $699 guitar. And all of a sudden they're, they walked in the door with more money than they wanted to spend, but maybe they'll buy that.
So. Well, I'm that customer.
Yeah.
A lot of times I walk in with the intentions to buy something at a certain price point, but when someone talks to me and shows me something nicer, a lot of times I buy up. I'm easy to sell up. If you're a good salesman or you show me the product and do your part, a lot of times you can make more money off me.
Yeah, absolutely. So big time of year. So tax time. We've always encouraged our businesses to do things. Name a couple things that I realize we're in it right now, but name a couple things that they could do, whether events or shows,
as far as
to take advantage of tax time and those tax dollars.
Well, have a tax sale. We can. I didn't spend much time thinking about this, but what comes to mind is a tax sale. Let people know if you come in with your tax dollars, or that's why you're buying something, you get a free lesson or 10% off, or whatever you want to do. But it's a great time to be creative, because there's a lot of ways to attract people to come into your store. People say, why does Walmart cash checks or your tax checks? Well, they do it because they got you in your store, in their store, and you're going to spend money in there. So they've attracted you in there. Well, we should do the same thing. We should find reasons to get people in, events, advertise your inventory that you have to let people know, hey, you can come spend your tax dollars here, because we have a great inventory. There's a variety of price points, a variety of stuff in. It's a great time to buy guitars.
Yeah, and actually I remember as an earlier guitar player years ago, not too many years ago, but years ago, whatever happened to the guitar contest, there always used to be one in the spring, and I think, man, that'd be a great opportunity to take advantage of that.
That was just small towns. You guys didn't have anything else to do.
Well, I guess not, but man, somebody needs to bring back the guitar contest.
Yeah.
But
guitar throwing contest?
Well, maybe,
let's be specific here.
Actually, one of my clients actually did have a guitar throwing contest.
Yeah, we've had a few of them.
So,
we've donated
They asked us to donate a guitar for it. I was like, you think you can just throw our guitars around?
Yeah,
I don't know.
well.
Anyways, but okay, great. So tax time is a great time of year.
Great time of the
year. We need to take advantage
yes.
of that. Business owners need to take advantage of that. But so let's talk a little bit about the idea of how they can take advantage of that with us. We also are having a good time of year right now with the inventory we have in the building.
Yeah, we talked about last time how much inventory we have. It's funny is yesterday or the day before, we didn't even expect it, but we got another shipment of guitars in. And we've got so much stuff in right now. It is a great time. It's a great time to buy guitars. It's a great time to take advantage of us having a product. You got tax season, and I don't want to go on a bunny trail here, but right after tax season, you got graduation too. Whether it's 8th grade graduation, high school graduation, whatever. So your inventory is not just going to sit there and collect dust. There's other promotions that you can do at this time of the year or in the next couple months to take that inventory. But yeah, we've got a great inventory that I would take advantage of right now.
Yeah, we've got several brands that we've got, a lot of guitars in. So
yes, and more coming in. That's the crazy thing, is I don't know where we're going to put some of this stuff, but we have more shipments coming in. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of
guitars. So
yes.
second quarter is probably going to look pretty good from
probably
our
third
perspective.
Yeah, probably third too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously that's kind of I don't know. I'm thinking here, kind of rolling it into it's tax time. We've got a lot of inventory in now. Obviously, when we have a good selection of guitars in, it's a great time for people to kind of up their game.
Sure. Yes.
So I don't know. Obviously, there's. I wanted to talk to you about the idea of a little bit of competition.
Yeah.
So we can have some feedback I get from business owners a lot of times is maybe the fear of the competition with box stores, or fear with the store down the street, or even fear with competing online as well. But as we've got guitars in, and it's tax time, people need to get more guitars in their stores. I wanted to talk to you about how can how can people get over the fear of being competitive against box stores, stores down the street, or even online?
Sure. It's a great topic. It's a touchy subject. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, or they have a lot of negative energy towards it. I don't want to minimize any of their fears, or any of their concerns or any of that.
They're real.
They're real. They are real. But I automatically take the other side of it. I don't know if it's a competitive nature in me, but I know there's a lot of it that comes from experience.
Yeah.
And so I can talk about experience. I haven't only wholesaled guitars, I actually retail guitars.
Yeah.
When you talk about competition, I learned how to sell guitars in the toughest area with the most competition. We dealt with it every single day.
Yeah.
And then Guitar Center moved in. I mean, this was before Guitar Center moved in, and then they moved in. And now the location where I was at has at least 3 Guitar Centers. They have a couple other box stores. It's a highly competitive market. So I learned to adapt and not only sell product, but make money. And that's the thing that a lot of people, they just give up. And we never gave up. I just learned to combat that kind of stuff. So we had a music store, and down the sidewalk we had a competing music store.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had several in other locations. And so the competing music store always vowed to put us out of business. And the interesting thing is, my philosophy a long time ago was like, we should help each other out, because we had an opportunity to draw people to where we were at. And then it just came down to, were we a better salesman than they were?
Yeah.
Did we have the right product? Did they have the right product? So it wasn't about putting each other out of business. I never wanted to do that, because I liked drawing people to us. And today, a lot of the people that is in the music industry as a whole, they fear competition. Whether it's, like you mentioned, box stores, music stores in your area, online, which is a big thing lately, that is creeped into our lives.
Yeah.
And so there's all these fear. And I always go back to something Zig Ziglar would talk about. And he would talk about, if you're worried and concentrating on your competition, you're not spending time working on yourself.
No.
And so
Okay.
a lot of my philosophy is a little bit different, because we can't control the environment. We can't control online. We can't control the box stores. We can't control any of this. But what we can control is how we do business, how we deal with the situation. And I'll be brief with this, but I had a customer that called me one time, and he was frantic. He was mad. He was upset. And he said a customer walked in with a cell phone and was looking up prices on a guitar. We've heard this a lot, even since then.
Absolutely.
And he was mad. I mean, he had a lot of, again, negative energy. And he was telling me, he says, I almost threw this customer out. And it shocked me. And I was like, why? Why would you do this? And then he kind of turned it on me and kind of got a little bit mad at me. And he said, well, what would you do? And then I said, well, what was the price of the guitar? What did you have it for? There was some difference. Online was a little bit cheaper. I said, man, I would offer him a gift card. I would give him a lesson. And I listed all this stuff. And he goes, well, you had this written down. And I said, no, I'm making it up right now. And the problem with a lot of people is we're not thinking about this kind of stuff. We're immediately thinking of, how do I get this customer out of the store?
Yeah.
But what I did was had a conversation and says, you can actually be cheaper. You can give them a $50 gift card. And then what he does is he comes back and he spends that gift card with you.
Yeah.
And he's not going to spend $50. He'll probably spend $100.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then you come back, and then I said, then you give him a free lesson. And then he comes back.
Create a loyal customer.
A loyal customer. And I said, before long, you have a customer who's your best friend.
That's right.
You can do good business, show them how good you are, how good your staff is, the quality of your product. You have a chance to teach this guy that he needs to come into your store all the time.
Yeah, and that's a huge concept, because basically what you're touching on is you have somebody who's walking in your store who wants to buy something, and you
Yes.
need to not let them walk out of the store without selling them something.
No, we have to understand what, and I go back to saying, again, I'm not going to go down too much of a trail, is what's the truth? The truth is you have a man who's insecure because he doesn't know about guitars, so he has his cell phone to protect himself and to look and make sure he doesn't get ripped off. Men, we think we know it all, and we want to act that way. So the best thing to do is to embrace that. Hey, what are you looking for? What can I help you with? You know, hey, you know, what's the price of that? Oh, we can make a deal. We can make something positive happen. Mm-hmm. I go back to years where people would walk in with a mail order magazine, because that was real popular at the time. Well, a lot of people would want, oh, he's got a magazine in his hand. And it was automatically all this fear and anxiety.
The old cell phones.
Yes, the old cell phones. And then I never did that. I would be like, hey, man, can I check out your magazine? I haven't seen it yet. Mm-hmm. And I would look and I'd flip through it. And then they were immediately, there was no, because they were nervous. They didn't want to walk in. You know, there was all this little nervous stuff going on. And then before long, I go, oh, I could match that.
Yeah.
And they go, really? And I go, yeah. Well, I just want to buy this. They don't want to order it online.
Yeah.
They don't want to go to a box store. They don't even want to go to one of these big old places that some people don't like. They wanted to buy it at a mom and pop shop, but they were afraid that the pricing wasn't going to be the same. They were afraid that they were going to, in their mind, get ripped off.
Yeah.
But more times than not, music stores can match or beat a competing deal. But you have to have them in your store. You have to get them in there, and you can't be afraid of it. You got to train your staff. You got to teach them, hey, if somebody walks in, don't assume something. If they have a magazine in their hand, embrace it. If they say, hey, I can buy this down the road for this price, qualify it, and if you can match it, match it.
Great.
Because you have a customer in your store, you have them, and you have the opportunity to keep them in your store. And a lot of times they buy other stuff as well. So it's just it's something that we have to learn to do, is when we get people in there, we have to look at it, and we can't be afraid of the internet, online, box stores, competition.
Yeah.
We just can't be afraid of some of that.
And I will say, no, I don't care what anybody else says, man, you still cannot underestimate the value of putting a guitar in somebody's hand.
No.
People want to hold a guitar. They want to play a guitar.
They want to touch it.
They want to touch the guitar,
yes.
and you can't do that online. So, you know, business owners have got to harness that ability with people to say, hey, buy this one. You can offer the same price, but man, now you've got that leverage that they're playing the guitar. They don't know if that guitar online is going to be the same way. So really, really play up on that. But I want to touch back on something you said a little bit ago about competition with stores down the street.
Yeah.
That can actually be an extremely positive thing.
Huge.
I mean, how many times have you walked into a store and somebody says, man, I don't have that, but so-and-so down the street has it. Why don't you go try them out? Mm-hmm. You know, because what does it do? Does it kind of create this kind of, give and take situation where you guys can work together? Right?
Yes, it definitely can. And again, it comes back to fear.
Yeah.
We would send, and just to use this guy as an example, we would send people in his store. Now, he vowed to put us out of business.
Yeah.
But we would send customers down there. And a lot of people would go, why would you do that? And it's because we were very confident in what we were about and our abilities. But we were also trying to help the customer. Because a lot of times they would go down there, and if they didn't have what they wanted, or they may buy it, and then they may come back and go, hey, thanks a lot for letting me know about it. But a lot of times, music stores or whoever in your area, you can be friends with them. we're all in it for the same reason. We're in it to make a living, to sell product. And the more that we network and the more we work with people, the easier it is for all of us. Fear is something that we should just eliminate out of our lives when it comes to that, because there's so much we can't control. And most of it, if not all of it, is our decision.
Yeah.
We make a decision. Do I really want to be concerned about something that I can't control or deal with, the box store? No. I'm still in business. If you want to be in business, be in business. But the biggest thing is concentrate on what you can control. Bring traffic in. What are you doing to bring traffic in? What are you doing to make your store look presentable so when people come in?
Yeah.
You talked about, okay, we can put a guitar in somebody's hand. So we got to make sure the strings are fresh, the guitar is clean, that it's tuned up, it's ready to go.
That's a huge deal.
I can't tell you how many times that I've walked into other music stores and the guitars are filthy, they're not marketed, they're behind a counter that says "Do not touch." You know, there's all kinds of broken strings. There's all kinds of things that we can really do if we stop and we think about it. We're so worried about everybody else that we're not worried about ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not worried about our staff. We're not worried about training and teaching our staff to deal with that kind of stuff. You know, this was a music store owner, the one I'm talking about, that was calling that he was going to throw somebody out. He had been in the music industry for about 30 years. Mm-hmm. So he was afraid. Yeah. He wanted to throw a customer out. So you know that he's never even had a conversation with his staff on how to deal with that. So you have a whole music store that doesn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And it is. And obviously we are all living in a time where things change pretty fast. Mm-hmm. Obviously we had a big economic downturn. It really kind of changed things. But coming out of that downturn, and even before then, it was always the big box store, the big box store, the big box store. You know, not to make light of anything, but we kind of see that as a worn out argument. I mean...
I say it's an excuse.
Yeah.
I really, really look at it today as an excuse. It's an excuse because there's so many people that don't want to do what it takes to be successful. That's the sad thing, is they always use competition. They always use the things that we're talking about as an excuse.
Yeah.
But truth of the matter is, let's take a look at ourselves. Let's look at ourselves and our store and our staff and our inventory and go, what can we do that'll make this better? I'm not going to blame anything on anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. There are times where I may have a dog in that fight, but at the end of the day, it's me. Yeah. It's me. The success and everything that I do in life depicts mainly on me. I'm not going to blame somebody else. I'm not going to go down that road. But if I own a music store, I'm going to look at it and go, what am I doing to make a difference? You know, what difference can I make? My staff. We talked about staff last week. We can train and empower staff to handle this stuff with or without us. And then the other one we talked about, inventory, is having the inventory in there. So I am so not looking at the competition in that way. It's real. I don't want to minimize it. Mm-hmm. You have to know what's going on. You can't live in a bubble. But truth be known, first we need to look at ourselves and we need to take inventory of ourselves.
That's right, because I still contend because I'm one of them, for every person that walks into a big box store, you've got 2 or 3 that don't. And there's a wide range of people out there who are more than willing to walk into smaller music stores that have great customer service, they have inviting atmospheres, that they know that they have found a place they can do lessons and be loyal to.
Yes.
People still love that. I think people really, really want that. And I think there's plenty of opportunity for business owners
There's
to
tons.
be that.
I think the pendulum, and again, I may be wrong, the pendulum switching to where we're going back to more of a mom and pop vibe.
Yeah.
I think our culture of people that we have in our lives are gravitating towards that. So today is the biggest and the best time for music store owners, and that's what we're talking about right now, is music store owners to take, again, inventory of themselves, their employees, and their store.
Yeah.
To make it a bigger invitation for people coming in. So we can start having conversations with those people to keep them in, to invite them in. And there's several ways you can do that. We talked about the Chamber of Commerce, going to the Chamber of Commerce.
Still a great idea.
Which is a great idea. Going there and introducing yourself to them, letting your business be known, because they can do all kinds of stuff for your store, grand openings, newspaper ads, advertising. There's all kinds of ways you can network and market your store. And of course, social media, we see a lot of things going on. But it really is a good time to have a music store.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, oh, that's the way it used to be, or they're looking past it. I don't feel that way. I feel like there's a lot of people today that want a mom and pop shop.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, even though they want that, maybe that smaller vibe, you still have to be good at it. You know,
Yes.
You still have to put effort into it and want to improve, and you want to move forward and have positive attitude. So, all right, so there's competition down the street. Great. Getting over the whole misconceptions of competing against the big box stores. Okay, great. But what about online? I mean, there's a little bit of fear about competing online as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's real. Again, these are real conversations. Again, I'll say it one last time. I don't want to minimize these different areas. But at the end of the day, you mentioned that people want to touch and play a guitar. And I still find that to be very true. The reason why, and I even find myself doing it on other product, buy online, is because it has been easy to do. There's lots of outlets, but I shoot a lot of archery, and recently walking into an archery shop, who was a small mom and pop shop. It just happened to be archery. So I was looking to spend $300-400 on a couple items. So I walk into the shop, and I'm very mindful of all of this, because this is the business we're in, is customer service. And I walk around and as I'm doing this, it was beyond me just looking and giving a customer a few minutes to look around. I was starting to get irritated because no one addressed me, no one said hi, no one said anything to me. There was a couple customers, but there was also a couple employees and the owner there, and they could have said, "Hey, good to see you. Give us a few minutes and we'll be right with you." That's all they had to say. Something. They didn't say nothing to me. So I did this, and I intentionally stayed there a few seconds longer, and then my blood was kind of boiling. I said, "The heck with these guys." So I started walking out the door, and I took one step out the door before the owner said, "Hey, thanks for coming in." Well, what did he miss out on? And I'm not saying this arrogantly or cocky, but I was looking to spend $3 or $4, but I could have bought a new bow. I could have dropped $1,000.
Yeah.
And then bought accessories and spent another $400 or $500. So the sky was the limit. I was the customer that he is looking for. I'm the guy that he wants in the store because I had money in my pocket.
But he was just happy you just walked in.
Yeah, and obviously happy I'm leaving, you know. And then I end up driving 45 minutes across town to a stupid box store.
Yeah.
And I spent a couple $100 and I hated it. I hated it.
I know. Do you remember when we walked into a music store, a local music store around here? We walked in the door, we walked over, we looked at some guitars, we looked at some more guitars, we got to the back side of the store. We'd been in there probably 10-15 minutes, and the guy at the counter was sitting there eating his sandwich, and he just goes, you guys good?
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like, and you look at them like, yeah, man, I'm good. I don't need any help at all.
Yeah.
You know, we're just looking at guitars, but
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like, you know, it's almost like you said, it's like sometimes smaller business owners, sometimes, I don't know if they can't see it, but maybe they're pushing people to the big box stores.
Yeah, oh, they
because,
are.
you
They
know,
are,
you know,
yes,
I'd rather have
yes.
customer service, but maybe I'm not getting it here. I guess I'll just go over here and save
Or
a
buy
few
it
dollars
online.
instead.
Or buy it online. Yeah. Yeah,
So-
I clearly remember that because I remember being kind of agitated at him.
Yeah.
And the sad
The
thing
store
is,
was messy over to the
yeah.
side.
Well, the
and-
sad thing is, and I don't want to go down this too long, but they were like the music store in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is in the trade magazines they won awards for having the best customer service and the best this, and that. And I shake my head to that.
Yeah.
I shake my head to that because it's very, very disappointing because when I worked in retail, we did not let that happen.
Yeah.
Of course we weren't perfect. Of course we didn't do everything right, but we spent so much of our efforts to engage people in conversation. It could be people that were local players. It could be moms who didn't have a clue. I made a lot of money selling guitars and drums and other stuff to moms that were clueless.
Yeah.
Why? Because when they came in, I didn't make them feel clueless. I just asked them what they needed.
Yeah.
How can I help them? I didn't try to oversell them, but I tried to upsell them. And I always tried to look out for what they needed. And a lot of times I would joke around them and say, Mom, if we can get this done and you can buy this drum set for your son, you can go to the mall and go shopping and buy some dresses or do something different. And they would laugh and say, yeah, because I really don't want to shop in a place where I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so my goal at that time was to make them feel comfortable, to be at home. We had a Coke machine in the store. And more times than not, the way to break the ice is, hey, can I buy you a soda? So the owner was very wise to say, if you have someone and they want a soda, go to the register and take, at the time it was 50 cents. I don't know how much they are now.
It's like $13
Yeah,
for a Coke.
but get 50 cents out and go over to the machine and buy them a soda.
Yeah.
And so we were very mindful of the atmosphere and how we treated our customers. The good thing is we still have a lot of customers that buy into this philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
It works for them. The flip side of it and the problem side is we have a lot of people that open up music store that they just don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what they need to do, and that's part of why we're having this conversation. Is the key in a lot of success of business, and especially when you're dealing with customer service and you're dealing with employees, is you don't have to know everything. You just have to hang out with the people. You have to make them feel wanted. You have to make them feel like their dollars that they're going to spend with you is important. There's some people that know this and some people that don't. I don't play guitar. I play drums. But I've been in this business for 26 years.
Yeah.
And I've sold hundreds of super high-end guitars and didn't even know how to play guitar. Martin D45s, and I mean the list goes on and on and on. And the reason is because I would just hang out with people and have good conversations and find out what their need was.
Mm-hmm.
And you know this because we talk about it. I don't have to lie, steal, or cheat any customer.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it. Why?
Yeah. Just be honest.
I'm not that way anyways,
Yeah.
but I never have to go down that road. I just have to be honest. We have to have an open relationship, and more times than not, I would get the sale. And even competition would be a couple $100 cheaper.
Yeah.
I remember selling high-end guitars, and later on they would say, well, I could have went down to this music store. They're a couple $100 cheaper, but I don't like dealing with them.
That's right.
And I would go, thank you. And I would almost want to go, here, let me give you a couple $100 back, because
Yeah.
I wanted to match the price. But at that point, it wasn't about price. It was about customer service. It was about taking care of their needs. It was to make them feel good over a purchase, because a lot of times the purchases were $3,000-4,000.
Yeah.
You know, and they wanted to feel good about that.
Yes.
And at that point, exactly, and at that point, a couple $100 didn't matter. But I remember several times people leaving smiling and thanking me for taking time with them, thanking for being that person. Now, today, we use the word force, we've forced people into other areas because we're not doing that. But we need to get back to being that way, and there is a ton of business out there.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer there's a ton of business out there, and it's what do we want to do with that? Do we want to send it to our competition because we have staff that isn't nice? Do we want to send it to online because we're not willing to help somebody, or sit there and eat a sandwich and go, are you good? What does that mean? You know, how does that really help us? You know,
maybe it was a good sandwich.
It was probably a great sandwich, and he didn't know what we wanted or what we had or what our abilities were. Today, my big thing is getting back to customer service.
Yeah.
It's getting back, not worrying about some of that stuff that's out of our control, but how can I be the best that I can possibly be? How can you have great staff? I can't say it enough that it's so important in a music store, or whatever the environment is to have very well-trained staff and teach them. And not only that, is to teach them not to be afraid of some of the stuff that they're going to see.
Yeah.
That they can have conversations about, hey, what do we do if somebody walks in with a magazine, or somebody says, I can buy this online for a certain price, what do we do? There's nothing wrong with those conversations.
Yeah, we need to have them.
We need to have them. I think we need to have more of them in the environment we are. And again, we have a lot of online customers, so I'm not bagging. We have a lot of online customers because of the change in technology, and because a lot of times brick and mortar store is not servicing them, and when they go online, we have guys that are giving great service to our customers online.
Yeah.
You know, they're selling guitars and their emails are responsive. They're doing the job of a brick and mortar store.
That's actually a concept that I'm sure we can get into at another time, but at least you can save 2 seconds on is all of these concepts that we would do in a store of customer service, good employees, positive attitudes, not driving people away. They apply to people selling online too, don't they?
Yes, big time.
So, but we can talk about that more maybe on another episode or something.
Yeah.
But I wanted to close on this. I remember for years when I waited tables, man, right when you picked up the food and you're getting ready to walk out there, you got it from the expo and you were walking out the door, right on the sign above there it said, every happy customer goes and tells one other person.
Interesting.
Every unhappy customer goes and tells 10. And so that was was an idea they just want to put in your head, like, hey, and it's true, so when that guy goes, he takes a bite of his sandwich and goes, are you good? The statistic is I'm going to go tell 10 other people about that music store, I guess he'd rather be eating a sandwich than coming over and picking up a guitar and saying, hey, let me tell you about this, or whatever that needs to happen. So, but it's a real concept that actually happens in people, happens in stores, happens online,
everywhere,
and we need to realize that it's real. So
ultimately we decide. Everywhere we look, there's opportunity. There's opportunity to give people good customer service, or an opportunity to give them bad customer service, and that's what we need to focus on individually, is opportunity. What do we want that to look like? Again, work in retail. Even if I didn't know about the product, when I was young starting out, again coming from drums, I had to learn about guitars. I never let that become a roadblock, because I overcame that by just being good, nice to the people, providing them all that good customer service. They overlooked early on a lack of knowledge towards guitar. It was more meaningful that they were potentially buying from somebody who was a nice person, or they could trust, or made them feel good. And that's something that we overlook. But the key with all of this is an opportunity. We have an opportunity to be great.
Yeah.
You know, we have an opportunity to have great stores.
Every opportunity.
Yeah, we do, and that's what we need to focus on. It doesn't matter the small town or the big town. I hear arguments on both ends.
Yeah.
I hear people that are living in small communities saying, "Oh, I bet your customers in Chicago or wherever make a lot of money," and I'm like, each have its own unique opportunities. They don't even take into account the competition that's in Chicago, where there's music stores on every corner in some areas. But yeah, it all comes down to us. It's opportunity. It's opportunity to have again a great store, a great environment, and what can we do better? I mean, how can we get involved in the community? How can we get involved in charity? How can we do? Oh, we could go on and on, but lessons, and there's so much that we can do. And the mom and pop stores are not dead. They're only dead if we allow them to be dead.
That's exactly
but we
right.
have some great stores. I mean, I listen to some of our dealers that have been in business for a season, and some of their ideas are awesome. They do great in the community. They have Battle of the Bands. They sponsor things in schools. They do a lot of church installs. They do a lot of things in the community, and it doesn't have to be just a big city. We have a lot of medium to small music store or stores in small areas that are doing great business. Why? Because they have an opportunity to go, yeah, this is what we want to do. They make a choice to be that. A lot of times we have people that just have a choice to go, I just open up the door. I'll sit here and wait for people to come into me. And I think we're beyond that. Or we should be. I don't want to just sit there and wait for people to come in. I want to think about how can I attract people to come in. How can I get business in my store? Again, and I'll be quick with this. I lived in Arizona. In the summers, this is true. You've been out there, you know. The summers, 110, 115, even 120 degrees. Nobody wanted to go outside.
No. It was
hot. And I remember in the middle of the summer, and I would sit there and go, how can we get traffic in here? How can we get people coming in here? And we lived on a main road, or our store was on a main road, so there was people going back and forth to work every single day. Well, how do we attract those people in? What do we got to do? And I remember us doing all kinds of stuff to get those people come in our store. We would park all the employees' cars out front to make it look like we had something going on.
Did you pass out ice cream or something?
Yeah, well, we should have. And then we were always playing music. We're always moving the store. We're always cleaning stuff. We always had activity. I remember customers walking in and going, hey, do you guys have a sale going on? And what it was we were just active. You know, we weren't just sitting behind the counter. I mean, how many times do we have employees sitting behind a counter and doing nothing, and when someone walks in they go, yeah, if you need any help, let me know. What does that mean? Why do we do that? You know, you greet them, and then you give them a couple minutes to kind of do their thing, and then you go out and ask them, what can I help you with? You know, we got to find a way to engage our customers. If you in your store you have, and I hate saying this, washed up musicians or musicians that have a job working there because they can't be a rock star, you need to either retrain them or get them out of your store, because they're the death of you. You know, you don't need someone behind the counter going, if you need any help, let me know, or eating a sandwich going, are you good? Oh my God, get that guy out of there. Either that or obviously start by retraining them, because, you know, it might be a good person that's just kind of lazy.
Hey, careful on the washed up musician. It's hitting a little too close to home.
You know.
But man, this is all good stuff. But how many years have you sold guitars?
This is my 26th year.
26th year. I'm telling you, as a drummer, he's got 3 chords down really well.
One.
Finally, after 26.
One.
Is it the well?
It's
You do
only
3
one.
different versions of 1 chord or
Well,
something. You,
yeah.
you kind of got this.
It's pretty bad.
It's
pretty
great.
bad.
It's really good as a drummer. You know.
Yeah, as a drummer, yeah. No.
Anyways, but
It's a payback to get back to all the guitar players in my life. Sell them guitars.
that's
Yeah.
exactly right. But anyway, so this has been a great conversation. So I hope this has been a great conversation for a lot of you. We hope to have a lot more of these conversations. We think these are vitally important for business owners, and thanks for joining in with us. And also, please, will somebody bring back the guitar contest? I think it's a great idea.
Please
just
don't.
if you do, you heard it here first. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day.
All right.